What's up, my YouTube family? It's your girl Sam, back with another video. Look, I know I haven't been out, but I've been kind of sad and down because of this funeral I went to, right? But I picked myself back up. I'm good now. It took me about a week, but I was all right prior. I really was until I got to the funeral. First of all, let me tell y'all. Now, the girl that passed away, I've known her since she was about what, 6, 7 years old, because she was a neighbor of mine, and we've been neighbor of mine's daughter, and we all been living on the same block for about 19 years. It's been a long time, but anyway, so you see the kids come up and go. They had their own kids and all of that, and see them get married. So I never knew any of their extended family, but this neighbor, him and her kids, they went to school with my children, and and they all went to school together, so they kind of grew up together. And I was into cheerleading and the sports and things like that with all the kids and all of that. I did it all. That's why I'm glad I'm free. But anyway, so she was a cheerleader and she was a pretty good girl. But people grow up and they make their own turns in life or whatever. And she was not black, not our race, and whatever. But it is what it is, because kids are kids, and when you're a mom, you're gonna do what you do for the kids. If you're sewing for the cheerleading team or car washes or whatever it is that you got to do your share, signs, whatever, you're going to have all the kids come over. If you have to drive, you do what you got to do. Same thing with the boys in the sports. It is a headache and good to be free. I am. But anyway, off of me. Back to what I was saying about this funeral. So anyway, we get to the funeral, and like I said, I never knew her extended family. So we get to the funeral, and oh, by the way, she was like 34, 33, 34, one of those, I don't know, 33, 34. But anyway, we get to the funeral, and we walk in. When we're walking in, it's like hillbillies, I kid you not, hillbillies, all on her family members, and like mountain people. Anyway, she was a girl who interracially dated. So her husband, which was her husband, he was black, and they had 4 kids. And nonetheless, when we get into the funeral, all the white people are on this side and all the black people are on this side. And it just kind of tripped me out, because you know how you have those ropes along the aisles, the velvet ropes along the aisles. So it kind of tripped me out. I'm like, okay, whatever, I know where I'm sitting, so I'll take my ass right over there where the black people are. And it's not that many of us, but it's quite a few. And then there's all these other white people that's on the other side. And the funeral was beautiful. The layout, the flowers, the coffin, everything was nice. It was really, really nice. The preacher, he got up and he said said a prayer, and it was a nice prayer. And then they went on, you guys know how funeral go, a couple of songs. So they get to the point where they start asking from testimony from the people, and that's where it went left field. One man stood up and he started saying this stuff. It was apparently because the husband broke up with the wife. They got a divorce, and because the wife, she turned to another kind of lifestyle, this young lady that passed. So when they pass young like that, it's usually from something else, something that they were doing. Anyway, so this one guy who she met later on in life, apparently after the divorce, he stood up and he says, well, I'm going to just say it like it is, because anything else would be fake. And he goes on to say how Let me get it straight. How many abortions she's had and miscarriages, and how she didn't take care of herself, and how she was just this stumbling drunk. And then another person stood up and said how she would fight everybody and how she was a pistol. And then another mountain man stood up and said, well, I'm going to say it like it is. And she just had a spitfire attitude, and she had a real shitty attitude. He cursed in the church. Said a cursing word in the church. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, is that how they do things? And so about 6 or 7, they had a little baby saying things. You know, she was really nice. I really liked her. Things along those nature. But those 4, 5, or 6 people, even her father, I was like, oh my God. So, and the thing about it is, her children were sitting there. Her children. And another thing about it is, the dad had custody of the kids. So when they sat down, they didn't sit over on the white people's side. They sat over there with the black people, the father and the children in the front of the other side. And the children didn't speak, but they're young people. The oldest child was like 19. Beautiful girl, beautiful girl, beautiful. And but she didn't speak. And so I was waiting for somebody to stand up and say something, and nobody did. So finally, he was about to close the mic, and I said, okay, I'll say something. And I really was saying what I really, really meant. You know, she was a sweet girl. It's just that life took another turn for her. But she was a sweet girl. And the thing about it is, she each child that she would have, she would bring them over and let me see them, and I would watch them grow and things along that way. She was a really, really smart girl in high school. Really, always had straight A's and always respectable to me, even up to this day, to the day she passed away. Always a respectable girl, always respectful, really, really respectful. So the girl that they were speaking of, like I told them, I don't know. I never knew her. I only know the person that I knew, which was a sweet girl. She just had things that troubles, basically. So I just wanted to say something nice to make it right, because her children were there, and I just didn't want them to leave with that memory of everybody saying these awful things and not one person saying anything nice on her behalf. And then I asked the Lord, and I asked God, I said, you know what, please, you know, I know my number will be coming up, you know, we can't live forever, and I'm old. So, but I asked Lord, you know, when I go, please, 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 let me have done some type of good deed or something to where somebody can say something nice about me instead of some craziness like that. Or is that the way they roll? Is that the way white folks do things? I don't know. All I know is, whoo, those words, whoo, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And then afterwards, they said, you know, we want everybody to come into the church dining room to share fellowship, which was fine. And we went there into the dining room, and I don't know, black folks, we just do things different from white people. We just do. White people seem like they count the last crumb or something. They had chicken breasts and they cut them in half, chicken thighs, and they cut those in half to serve people. You know, black folks, we just bring stuff to the we just know to cook and bring some food. I just did not get it. I mean, but I stayed for about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then I left. And we call ourselves getting together and going to this Italian restaurant. It's supposed to be the most expensive and best Italian restaurant in town. We went there, and And I took one bite of the food, and I ordered lasagna, and it was $25 a plate. And I ordered that lasagna, and I took one bite of it, and I knew I was going to be sick. And I was. Maybe I brought it on myself. Maybe I spoke it into existence. I don't know, but oh man. I'm like, I didn't want to be a spoiled sport. But I'm thinking in my head, man, I could have made lasagna way better than this. This shit is for the birds. I could have made this. Anyway, till the next time, please do like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and toodles.